Hi everyone, my name is Flossie Chua and I am a senior researcher at Project Zero, which is a research center at Harvard University. And today I'm joined by three incredible educators to have a conversation about resilience and what we can do about it, in a time of so much stress, complexity, and rapid changes that are going on in the world.
After the last 2 years that we've seen so many challenges, we've all had to show and build our capacity with resilience.
For me, it's about being the drama teacher and how students have responded to a lack of performance culture, not being able to build that relational aspect within a classroom that you get when you're face-to-face with students in the last 2 years.
I find that for many of my students, their academics and their well-being are things that are daily struggles for them. So I'm really looking to learn some strategies to better support my students and to, I guess, keep them going through what are some pretty difficult times we're living through.
I think what I'm hearing from all of you is, as educators, we really have to try to anticipate what's coming. What is the hump that's coming up? And how can we, predict so that we can better prepare the young people that we have in our care so that they can live productive lives, so that they can be more agentic, about the adversity that they might be facing.
I understand my role is very important in that aspect as a teacher and educator. By having dealt with a few experiences in my own life where I've had to find resilience myself. So having that life experience, but understanding that it is a combination of factors that cause a person to develop grit and the ability to manage difficult moments in their life.
I think as teachers, we often need to be resilient every day. And we need to role model that for our students as well, because they look to us as, adults who spend a lot of time with them. They look to us to show them what it means to bounce back, from a difficult situation.
It's like maybe a pendulum that swings sometimes to positive or to negative. But I also think, though, that it's something that constantly happens. This isn't the trailer or the pre-trailer. This is life. And I think that in life, all of the things that we are going through in the process is developing our resilience. And I think it is about that balance between the positive and negative.
What helps me to demonstrate resilience to my students is that they essentially see me walk into the class each day, and I make it clear to my students that this is what I hope to deliver to you today. This is what I hope we can achieve, but we're going to need to be flexible. I've got this activity that I'd like to try with you. Let's see how it goes. It might work really well or it might not work. So that understanding that not everything is going to go the way that we want it to go. From a personal level as a teacher, when you work in an environment that is collaborative, where you can perhaps go into the staff room and openly say to a staff member, oh, my lesson didn't go too well. Can I tell you about it? Can we talk about it? That also encourages resilience, because then you're in an environment that it's okay to take a risk and for it to not pay off. But then you just keep working on what's the next lesson, what's the next goal.
I really love what you're saying, Rebecca, because, many people will say, well, resilience is about strength. It's about being able to, handle everything that's thrown at you and all that. And what you're saying is that it's about vulnerability.
Also, as a teacher, just not being afraid as well to demonstrate yourself and to perhaps speak about situations where you felt particularly vulnerable, but you overcame it, and give them sort of the tools or the understanding that this is a process.
The one thing that we keep hearing from people is that classroom is classroom, life is life, right? And so how have you helped people try to bridge those two apparently disparate, contexts in life?
Yeah, I suppose that's the thing, isn't it? It's like being a conduit for the classroom to the world. And I think certainly in the visual arts space in my classroom, the students, it becomes their studio, and we engage with I suppose, the complexity of the world through contemporary art.
Have you found that there are certain subject areas where it just feels easier to, nurture resilience and where it's more challenging in others?
Those areas where it perhaps is a bit easier to nurture resilience, I think, are those subjects where it is about experimentation and it is about trying something and then reflecting on how it went and how you can improve. So I think any subject that embeds reflection and improvement and feedback to improve are ones where students feel more comfortable and safe.
What are some things that you would like to see in your educational environment that you think will be better able to support young people to become more resilient?
The tools that I'd like to see being used more, I think, is that agency. So the student really needs agency and to have their own voice supported.
Teaching what I teach, it is, I suppose, we call drama the stuff of life. It's an examination of the human experience. What would you do if you were in this situation? So giving them situations where they are able to think about their responses, think about what would they do and demonstrate it, perhaps, in small groups, or be physical rather than writing and just passive and reflective all of the time.
More learning that is focused on those real experiences, those authentic contexts, and a shift away from test or exam-based ways of assessing what students know and can do is going to be really beneficial to building student resilience and preparing them for the future.
How do we build these capacities when sometimes our hands are tied, or that that we can't do what we need to do to help the child? But I also think, then my question is, how can we actually continue to build support for these students if we can't actually change the system itself?
No, I think that's a really important question, because no matter what we do, we swim in systems all the time, right? Many of them that are invisible. So how do we help, make really visible those systems that are making it really challenging to be the kind of resilient people that we need?
My question about how I can support students with resilience is, what can I do if the issues that they're facing are external ones? If it's things happening at home that have nothing to do with school life, then what can I do to actually support that student other than listen to and allow them the space to talk about what's going on in their lives?
Yeah, I think that's a really tricky one, isn't it? Because, you don't want to be entering into their family life to interfere with, what's going on and all that. At the same time, you have to.
My question, I guess, is it's about the culture of the fear of being judged, or the anxiety that I feel seems to be a little overwhelming for students in a group situation, whereby they sense that that's the norm and it's almost an excuse not to try.
Given that you're coming off, the pandemic and schools are reopening and all that, I've heard that many relationships actually have been broken or really strained because they haven't been in the same place, right? So moving forward, what are some things that you think about doing to try to mend those relationships, so that they can become a wellspring of strength?
The ways in which we nurture resilience is by being really community focused within our schools. And a lot of schools, that's done through things like the house program or through mentor programs. So really, schools should be investing time within those important programs that give students a sense of community and belonging and a chance to get to know each other and a chance to talk about different issues that affect them as young people. So I think it's prioritizing opportunities for young people to interact outside an academic environment.
I also think that it's really important to give of ourselves as well, to be authentic ourselves, that if you're asking students to give voice, that you also give voice to your experience so that their risk-taking is validated by what you're doing as well.
I think that from what I'm hearing from all of you, that feels really like the crux of what you're saying, So here are all these adversities, here are all these problems and obstacles, that we face every day. Is part of the human condition. But what can we do about it? Well, we can face it. We can make it visible. We can embrace it as part of life. And then we find, that there are ways that we can deal with this, and we do so in relationships with other people. We do so in the safety of people who care about us, and that feels really inspiring to me. So it's just incredible to be having this conversation with the three of you. I mean, it gives me great hope for what we can do with young people.